Okay, thanks for joining us on our second module, Peripherals. And I think the power of the system is all the peripherals that you can connect to it. It's nice if you have your base unit, but it's a little bit tedious sometimes when you have to go run up to the unit to press it. So in most facilities, you're going to have some pendants, so some pull cords, some dome lights, and things like that. So this is what this presentation is going to talk about. Okay, once the type of the unit is selected, then you have to ask what they want to connect to it. The tabletop unit does not need any daughter cards to support any of the peripherals, but the wall mounts do. So now we'll talk about the wireless peripherals required. So the wireless board is required for a unit to work with a wireless device. Remember we talked about in the first module, if I have a 700 or a 500, then the unit has a wireless board. If it doesn't, the other units, the 300 and 600, can be upgraded out in the field with the wireless upgrade kit. And basically, with the wireless, it's using 403 megahertz, and it's good for. It's always hard to say what the length is because it depends what's in the middle between the pendant and the wireless devices. If there's nothing, then it's usually good for 100 feet, maybe a little more. But in reality, usually there's a wall in between there, and it all depends on what's the wall made out of and things like that. So to play it safe, within usually say 50 feet. But again, if it's in a wide open area, it's going to work a lot further. When we talked about on the resident and patient units, you can have a maximum of 12 wireless devices programmed. That can be the 4 pendants, 4 wireless pull stations, or those 4 RF3 sensors. And the RF3 sensors are going to connect to a toilet flush indicator, a smoke detector, flood detector type of thing. So you can have up to 12 wireless devices connected to the the wall mount units. And remember from the previous presentation that the A200 can have up to 8 wireless devices connected to it. So that's kind of talks about the wireless peripherals and overview. Now we're going to get into the details. So you have a wireless pull cord. It can mount on a 1 gang surface type bracket. It doesn't need to be inside. It doesn't need to have a gang box, but that's pretty much the size of it. It's it can manually reset it at the resident patient unit on the pull station or through a voice communication, which is programmable about how to reset it. There's an LED and audible activity indicator for instant communications on the wireless versions. We're using 433 megahertz. And the wireless pull cords are great if it's difficult to run a wire. Personally, I like the wired pull cords just because you don't have to worry about the batteries. Because with wireless, you do have battery in there, and the batteries can, after a year or two, depends how much time you use it, will expire. But the wired is always there. But again, if you have a concrete or if it's too expensive to really run the wire, then wireless is a great option. In addition to the pull cord, you have the wireless pendant. So it's a water resistant pendant, and it's again they're all using the 433 megahertz. And the pendants, the nice thing about the pendants is you can use them either around the neck as a lanyard, or you can put them on your wrist and use it as like a watch. And it's the same kit, it's the same basic unit, and you just have to use a different kit. Now the pendants are different between the tabletop unit and the wall mount units, and also but the within the units are the same. So we also have call or bed cords inside for the wall mount units. Again, they plug right into the front of the unit, and they come in different, I think, different options: 8 feet, 10 feet, 20, 12 feet, 20 feet. Now, the nice thing about the units with the call cords is, more and more facilities or hospitals, you have more than one patient per room, and you can get a splitter if you have 2 people in the room or 2 beds in the room. So you can have 2 bed cords connected to one unit. And there's also 4-way splitters. If there's 4 beds in a unit, then all 4 you can have 4 beds connected to the units themselves. So that's waterproof PVC, and that's the bed cord. So you press that button and it's going to automatically dial. Now with that same type of connector, we can use these pressure mats for the mattresses. So if you're in an acute care facility and the person shouldn't be getting out of bed, then you can put a bed mat down, and when there's no pressure on the bed mat, it's going to automatically dial and simulate somebody pressing the button. So that way if it's 2 in the morning and somebody shouldn't be getting out of bed, it's going to alert back to the nurse station. So that's the call of bed cords. Then we have the dome lights. Again, only for the resident and patient units. It's a four bulb dome light. You have to have the dome light module. Requires it's basically a 2-gang electrical box. It's the size of it, but you don't need to house the dome light into the box. It's just that size. It's easy to screw into a 2-gang electrical box if you have one. If not, you can just put it right over the wall. And we program the unit to say if somebody presses the emergency button to light the first light. If somebody presses the pull cord in the bathroom, you can light the second light. So that way the personnel can go to the room and know where to start looking for the person by determining what they press down there. And the dome lights get power from an external power source. And there's a so basically what the dome lights have 2 wires going back to the unit themselves, and then there's a power that gets strung serial from the dome light to dome light. Because if you think about it, most of the dome lights, if you go into a assisted living facility, all the rooms are pretty much on the same along the corridor, and the dome lights would be on top of each one, and the power would daisy chain from dome light to dome light, and you can power about 15 dome lights off of one power module. So if you do need dome lights, you have to order the dome light module for the units themselves. You have to order the dome lights, and then you have to order the power for that. And then actually the next slide talks about the dome light module. There's the part number for it. That's what it looks like. And then we have the RF sensor, RF3 sensor. It's proprietary to us, but it just enables us to connect these other external devices. So if you do need carbon monoxide sensor, so that means I sense carbon monoxide, I'm going to automatically dial. If I sense water on the floor, I'm going to automatically dial. That's how the RF3 sensors work. And then I have a wired pull cords. So again, they're going to be wired directly to the units themselves. And it's 1-gang type, no LEDs. Call must be canceled on the corresponding miAlert unit themselves. Patients and resident units have different wired pull cords because of what the different things they say on them. Like the patient unit it says emergency on it. And those are the different part numbers for the wired pull cords. And each device can only have one wired pull cord. So there is a way you could kind of daisy chain it, but there's only one pair to get connected to in the unit themselves. So you could go from one pull cord to the other and wire it back. Whereas the wireless, you can have 4 natively. So that's the presentation on the different peripherals, and hope you have a better understanding of them now. Thank you for your attention.